Now let us look at question 18, Kcse 2023 Mathematics Paper 1. Now, in this particular question, you've been given a grid with the triangle PQR already drawn for you. So there are some questions that you're supposed to answer pertaining triangle PQR, and you're going to look for at the first question. Now, what does the first question require us to do? On the same grid, that's the grid that is provided, draw triangle P prime Q prime R prime, which is the image of triangle PQR under a reflection in the line y equals to 0. Now the line y equals to 0 is basically the x-axis. So you have to reflect triangle PQR on the x-axis. That is, this triangle PQR has to be reflected on this x-axis. This one is the x-axis. Now, from laws of physics, we know that the object and the image is far much behind the mirror as the object is in front of the mirror. In this case, what do I mean? The distance from the mirror line, which is the x-axis, to Q, is the same distance from the mirror line to Q prime that will be on the other end. It is reflected to the other side. So this one is taken to be the mirror. So if you put a mirror here, this image will be reflected this object will be reflected on the other side of the mirror line. So we are going to draw lines of reflection, and lines of reflection we are going to use dotted lines so that we don't confuse with the object and the image. So we are going to use dotted line. Mainly it is for purposes of being able to get out the difference between which one is the object and which one is the image. Now, using a pair of dividers, we can transfer these distances, but from our diagram here, the distances are very much clear. We can see that from the mirror line towards point Q, there are two boxes. So from the mirror line towards Q, image is going to be 2. So it means that here you're going to have Q prime. Then towards R, there are 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So from the mirror line, 1, 2, 3, 4. So at this particular place is where you have R prime. Then from the mirror line towards P, there are also 4. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4. But it is good that you use your pair of dividers when you want to measure, so that when you measure this distance, that is from the mirror line towards the point P, you can transfer to the other sides towards the point P. Then after that, we complete now. So this one is our P prime. We now complete our image. P is connected to Q. Then Q is connected to R. Now you see the reason why we are using dotted lines, so that you can be able to get the difference between which one is the object and which ones are lines of reflection. Now, that is part A, Roman 1. Now, part A, Roman 2 of the same question requires us to draw triangle P double prime, Q double prime, R double prime. That is the image of P prime, Q prime, R prime under an enlargement scale factor -1.5. Now it's upon you to know that if you have a point of enlargement here, let us call this one center of enlargement, then there is a figure on this side If this figure undergoes negative enlargement, it is going to come on the opposite side of the center of enlargement. It's going to be inverted on the opposite side of the center of enlargement. So we are going to make sure that all these points of triangle P single prime, Q single prime, R single prime are connected to the center of enlargement, which is O. So we connect P to our center of enlargement, connect P to our center of enlargement, and we are still going to use dotted line. The reason why we use dotted line is so that we will not be confused on how the object appears and how the mirror lines appear. So it is undergoing an enlargement of negative 1.5. Now basically it means that we are going to enlarge this distance from single, this one is a single spacing, this one is a single spacing, So from this single spacing, we are going to multiply it by 1.5, but to the other side. So if you multiply this distance by 1.5 and it moves towards the other side, it is going to go all the way up to 1.5, because this side it is 1, so the 1 will be 1.5. This one is 2, so 2 times 1.5, it becomes, that is when you take the distance 2 and you multiply the 1.5, it is going to go on the other side, it becomes 3. So where 3 meets, so at that particular distance is where you're going to have P double prime. We go ahead and enlarge point Q prime. Enlarge point Q prime. So if we enlarge point Q prime, we still use dotted lines. That is for the lines of enlargement. We use dotted lines so that higher. So enlarge this Q towards the other end, and you're going to multiply this distance from O to Q by 1.5. So if you take 2, you multiply it by 1.5, it becomes 3. If you take 2, you multiply by 1.5, it becomes 3. And if you take 1 on this other side, you multiply with 1.5, it becomes 1.5. So where negative 3 meets 1.5, at this particular place is where we have Q double prime. We go next for point R. We still connect R through our center of enlargement. So we connect R through our center of enlargement. We are still going to use dotted line so that that difference can be noted, especially if someone wants to read the diagram that you drew. So R is going to be reflected on the other end also. So the distance from O to R, you multiply it by 1.5 to the other side because it is negative. So this side you have 2. So 2 multiplied by 1.5 is going to give us 3. So here you have 3. Then on this side you have negative 2. Negative 2 multiplied by 1.5 is also 3. So on this side you also have 3, and they meet here. So this particular place where we have our R double prime. And when you connect PQR, you're going to end up with an image of this sort. So this is going to be image PQR double prime. Now going ahead, we'll have part 3. Part 3 says triangle P triple prime, Q triple prime, R triple prime is the image of P double prime, Q double prime, R double prime under a half turn about the center O. So what do you mean by a half turn? Now, a half turn, this one means it is 180 degrees, either positive or negative, because a half turn is a turn. A complete turn is 360 degrees. So if it is half turn, it is 180 degrees. You can either go clockwise 180 or you can go anti-clockwise 180 degrees. Now, taking our double prime here is going either to turn clockwise 180 degrees or it is going to turn anti-clockwise 180 degrees. Now, we are going to connect each and every point. We are going to connect each and every point to the center of rotation, that is the turn. P double prime connected, it goes to the other end. If you take R connected, it still goes also to the other end. If you take Q connected, it still passes on up to the other end. So now we have elongated our lines. Now we have to transfer, that is P prime, start with the P prime, from here all the way to P prime. It is being rotated 180 degrees. There's a reason why I'm not measuring the angles, because we know that this is a straight line and angles on a straight line add up to exactly 180. So P, when you rotate positive 180 or when you rotate negative 180 or positive 180, so P on this other end, it lands on this other end, and here is where you're going to have the point P triple prime. We go ahead and we look at the point Q. Q, from the distance from Q towards the center, also towards this other side. So this particular place is where you're going to have Q triple prime. We go ahead for R, distance from R towards the center, then to the other end. Here is where we are going to have R triple prime. Then you connect the triangle PQR like that, and you'll have very clean work that the examiner can look at it and give you marks for maintaining cleanness and being able to be read. So this way you have the triangle PQR triple primes. Now, part B of the question requires us to describe a single transformation that maps PQR single prime to PQR triple prime. PQR single prime to PQR triple prime. How did this single prime become the double prime? How did the single prime become double prime? Now, this one requires the learner to have a keen eye and look at it to be able to describe what is happening. It requires a learner to have to look at it and describe what is happening. Now, how did the P single prime become P double prime? Now, if you look at the distance from O to P, that is the origin to P, and the distance from origin to here, this distance is double this distance here, by way of measurement or by way of just analyzing it. This one is twice, this one is once. So in short, from here to here, it is 3. So here, O to P triple prime, it is 3. Then O to P single prime, it is 2. So when you divide, you get 1.5, which means that this triangle has been enlarged 1.5 times to get this triangle. This one has been enlarged 1.5 times to get this triangle, and the center of enlargement is the origin O. So for this particular question, you are supposed to answer it. That means you describe, you say that it is an enlargement. Enlargement, scale factor positive 1.5. Then you state the center of enlargement, center 0, 0, or just say center origin, center origin, and that is where, that is how question 18 was supposed to be done. Such a very nice question that if you master it very well, you will be able to answer it and get all the marks. Thank you.